All activism is good activism. I mean, I'm out here, first of all, I oppose the war, but it's, for me, being out here is more than that. It's, I really enjoy the fact that public space here, sort of, this main intersection in Livermore, instead of people just sort of driving home from work, maybe, listening to some nice music, but are also using this space to express themselves and to make themselves heard, and sort of really just taking back this space as a public space where we can come together and talk about the important issues every day. So for me, that's even more important than getting my specific anti-war message out. Just the idea that it's okay to hog, it's okay to come out and say what you think.
Growing up in Israel, does that give you a unique perspective on political activism?
I'm not sure if it's unique, but I mean it is part of why I am an activist. What you learn in Israel is that politics is not something abstract. It's something that really affects you on a day-to-day level, and affects society in a very direct and real way. And so you can't hide from politics. It's not something that's happening up on a hill somewhere.
Right.
It's something that's part of your daily life. And so I think that's been my main lesson. I mean, statistically in Israel, you're more likely to die from a car accident than a terrorist attack.
Same here.
I mean, in America, it's even more so. But I mean, a lot of people don't realize that about it. So yes, we grew up on the threat of terrorist attack. Yes, I mean, I paid attention to what bus I was riding, and if we heard a helicopter, I lived right by the hospital. If I heard a helicopter overhead, you turn on the news. Yeah, I guess that's different, but and it probably even helped me shrug off sort of the threat of terrorism much more. But I'm not sure my reaction is typical for an Israeli. My generation grew up. Our first election that we remember is hanging chads. We grew up with a president who's notorious for not listening to anybody. So I think the biggest obstacle isn't counter demonstrations, but just people who don't feel that activism can accomplish anything, which, as I said, with our current president, isn't all that crazy of a position to be in. I mean, there are always a few counter protesters. There are always people who disagree, and that's fine. It's always. I actually prefer talking to those than people who just want to throw up their hands at the whole idea of political change. But I think definitely for my generation, the biggest obstacle is not one of disagreement about the issues, but disagreement about the possibility of change.
So would you say that Generation Y is apathetic?
We're not apathetic.
Okay.
No. It's not because it's not that we don't care. We do care. We care a lot. We would love for things to be different, and it's not even that we're ill-informed or don't know what's going on, and that's why we don't care. We know what's going on. We do care. We have an opinion. I think it's almost sort of helplessness. We don't know what to do about it because, as I said, we've grown up in a political world where it looks like it doesn't matter if you vote. It doesn't matter if you go out into the streets. The president is going to do whatever he wants, no matter what you say. That's why I think a lot of the activism that has gone on hasn't been sort of traditional demonstrations on the weekends against the war, but it's been sort of channeled through other things. There's strong food not bombs and strong critical mass rides and things like that are sort of trying to build alternatives, trying to find a way of still affirming a positive political vision and a vision for the future. So we're definitely not apathetic. We're just not sure. Not sure how to get our voice actually not just heard, but get our voice to actually change anything.
What's your advice? What do you think is most effective in any singly or in any group of actions, either protesting on the street, voting, or writing your representatives?
I would say protesting. I would say protesting, not just because I think it's more effective in achieving change. It's also more effective in building a community. I think definitely something that we've seen the past year at Santa Barbara. What's been so amazing isn't the massive political change that the large demonstrations have brought, but the sense of community it's brought. It brings people together locally, and it helps people build a community. So definitely still vote and still write representatives, but those are all things you do on your own individually, cut off from everybody else. And so I think the power demonstrations isn't just that they're an actual exhibition of power, not just getting your voice heard, but it's actually applying your power, but it's also that it helps you connect to other people and brings people together, which is very powerful. That empowerment is very important, and it's what will help us over that helplessness and allow us to actually move towards a place where we can start changing things again instead of just sitting at home worrying that the president is going to go off and bomb Iran without bothering to ask anybody whether it's a good idea or not.